Hi, my name is Beth and I'm a Development Officer at Ash Scotland. Here at Ash Scotland, we work to reduce the harm caused by tobacco and related products, and we are funded by the Scottish Government. This presentation is part of our Learning Week between the 10th and the 14th of March, and this is part of our Youth Conversations Hub webinar. Today's meeting theme is vaping illicit substances. So first what I'll do is go over the basics about e-cigarettes. E-cigarettes are battery-powered devices that heat a liquid into a vapour. The vapour is then inhaled into the lungs and travels through the bloodstream to the brain. Most e-liquids do contain vegetable glycerin, which is a colourless liquid extracted from vegetable or palm oil and is used in cosmetic products such as makeup or pharmaceuticals. We also know that they contain propylene glycol, which is used in various edible products such as coffee-based or cream like whipped cream and ice cream or sweeteners. So this is non-toxic when ingested into the stomach, but their safety when vaporized, the same as vegetable glycerin, when inhaled has not been guaranteed. Most e-cigarettes do also contain nicotine, which is a highly addictive substance. Not all e-cigarettes do contain nicotine, but ones that don't are more difficult to get hold of. So on websites, when you try and purchase them, when you try and click the non-nicotine ones, it is quite difficult because it sometimes takes you to nicotine-containing devices instead. And also some in the shops, when they're marketed as non-nicotine products or nicotine-free, when tested, actually did contain nicotine. We also know that there's over 16,000 different flavourings, and you might have heard of ones like bubblegum or Hubba Bubba, mint cheesecake, or gummy bear, which is a top seller. Other wildly different named ones like blue unicorn, tiger blood, or watermelon rainbow. So these flavourings do contain a lot of different chemicals, and they haven't been safety tested for inhalation. Some flavours have also been shown to increase the toxicity of the vapour. So we know that e-cigarettes are not for non-smokers, children or young people, but some websites that sell vapes actually say information such as you can charge an e-cigarette via a games console. So that brings into question whether these industries are targeting young people. Most of these ingredients are not safety tested for inhalation, and some flavours have been shown to increase the toxicity of the vapour. Now we'll have a look at this page, which has different e-cigarette devices. We'll start with the one on the left, which is a Ciga-like. A common brand of these were blue, and they were designed to look and feel exactly like cigarettes. They were either disposable or they had the ability to be recharged via a USB port. They had a low battery life, and they also had weak vapor production. Users also reported that between their fingers they felt quite heavy and they felt uncomfortable compared to traditional cigarettes. So next we have the vape pen. They had a larger battery capacity and they had refillable tanks. As you can see from the picture, we have the black mouthpiece at the top and a tank that sits underneath that, and then a button that you need to press in to make it work. They had free-base nicotine compared to later models which had nicotine salts. Free-base nicotine has quite a harsh throat feel and is absorbed into the bloodstream less quickly compared to nicotine salts. Next we have the tank or the mod system. This was a larger and more powerful device. As you can see from the panel on the left there's lots of different buttons that allows the user to control almost every element of the device, such as the battery power and the temperature control. So adults were attracted to this, especially if they were involved in the vape culture or they wanted to be involved in vape cloud production. So next we have the pod system. These were quite easy to use compared to the other ones, and they were quite compact and discreet. So you have lots of different styles and shapes and colours of these, and they were rechargeable. And as we just said, they have nicotine salts rather than free-base nicotine. And lastly, we've got the disposable systems. So these were single use, so you didn't need to charge them, and they didn't need refilling. They're small, compact, colourful, and easy to use. There's a huge variety of sweet and fruity flavours such as tropical, cherry, berry, and they were cheap in cost compared to the refillable vapes that came before. They're heavily marketed on social media, in festivals and at sporting events, and there's quite a high environmental impact associated with these because they are single use, they're thrown away, and this creates quite a lot of plastic waste. There's also many illegal imports with high nicotine content that exceed regulations. Unlike the pod and the tank systems, single-use vapes are only sold in the maximum nicotine concentration. It's estimated that as many as 1 in 3 of all disposable e-cigarettes are illicit. That means that they adhere to regulations but are not registered with MHRA, or they could have nicotine concentration or e-liquid levels that are above the legally set limits in the UK. Now we'll have a look at use among young people. We know that young people most often use the pod or the disposable e-cigarettes, and we can see here current use among young people and that it increases in the higher age groups. We also can see a little difference here in the boys and girls use among the years, in that they used to be more popular among boys, but now more recently they seem to be more popular among girls. Research has shown that young people who use e-cigarettes are up to 3 times more likely to start taking up smoking traditional cigarettes. A UK-wide YouGov survey on youth vaping showed us that there was a 10-fold increase in the use of disposable single-use vapes and a drop in the use of the bigger types of vapes between 2020 and 2023. In 1 year, it actually doubled the rate of use. And in 2024, current use among young people has risen to 7.2%. And again, this reflects, similarly to the older studies, in that as the young people get older, their use increases. So why are young people vaping? There might be many factors, many reasons to this, including that their friends or family also vape. We know that the tobacco industry markets vapes on social media, festivals, at sporting events, and also the point of sale. So in some shops, vape products might be at eye level for young people, and some vape shops are very colourful and eye-catching. Some vapes are marketed at sort of pocket money range. We also know that the different flavours and appeal, so the most common flavour being gummy bear, which arguably is not targeted at adult smokers. And other flavours include tropical mixes like pineapple, custard tart, birthday cake, recently roast chicken and garlic, and some wildly named ones like brain freeze, glacier, and mad blue. Some vape product packaging and e-liquid bottles also feature bright colours and cartoon characters that might be attractive to younger people. And some young people might have heard different myths about e-cigarette use, like that they reduce stress, and they believe that they're harmless, when research has shown that e-cigarettes are not harmless. There are many different short-term and long-term effects, as we can see here. We can see a range of short-term effects, including reduced focus and concentration, and physical issues like wheezing, coughing, shortness of breath. Some long-term effects here as well is that it can increase the risk of heart disease and lung disorders, particularly for those that have existing conditions such as asthma. And as we know, they're 3 times more likely in the long run to take up traditional cigarettes. Now we'll have a look at the cycle of nicotine dependence. I will share this over email afterwards, after the session, because this can be a great tool to use with young people to allow them to understand exactly what nicotine dependence is, and perhaps to be able to recognise it within themselves. So first, if a young person vapes, nicotine is delivered and travels to the brain. Nicotine activates nicotinic receptors in the brain, which stimulates the release of the motivation hormone dopamine. Dopamine is released, and this leads to the feelings of pleasantness, calm, reward, relaxation. But over time, dopamine levels reduce, and this is what could lead to the withdrawal symptoms of stress, irritability, tiredness, and anxiety. So this then triggers the desire to vape again, and then we go back to the first bit again. So now we'll move on to have a look at illicit substances that might be used within vapes. Originally, vapes were designed to assist adults to quit smoking, but we're seeing that vape devices are increasingly being used to consume illegal drugs. According to Public Health Scotland, reports that both synthetic cannabinoids and THC vapes are on the rise. And this raises issues for health, legal, and social concerns in the UK. Common illegal substances used in vapes. The most common illegal drug to be used in a vape device is cannabis. Individuals that vape cannabis can do so more discreetly with less of a smell compared to smoking it in traditional cigarettes. This can be known as stealth vaping, and it makes drug use harder to detect and therefore prevent. Individuals think that they're purchasing vape fluid, often online, that contain cannabis, but actually they are laced with spice. Spice is a synthetic cannabinoid, and it's often mixed with e-liquids, and this can have a powerful, unpredictable, and dangerous effect. MDMA, or methamphetamine, this is less common to be used within vapes, but some people do modify vape devices to vaporize these substances also. Finally, we also found heroin to be laced with vapes, and there's been reports of other opioids being laced in a vape, which increases overdose risks. Particularly, schools and youth organisations have reported to us that there's been incidences of young people suffering adverse effects from using a vape with suspicious substances. Any drug can be liquidized and maybe vaped, including we've heard things being laced like ketamine and Ritalin, which is an ADHD medication, and in America, fentanyl. We found that some drugs, when heated, lose their effect, so some drugs can't be vaped, but these are the ones that we have heard of. There's severe health risks that are associated with vaping drugs, which includes lung damage and toxic chemical exposure from unregulated liquids, an increased addiction potential due to the rapid drug delivery through a vape, and mental and physical health effects such as increased blood pressure and heart rate, anxiety, and mood disorders. Here's an example of a packet that contains a vape laced with cannabis at school. Although because we can't test this, we're not actually sure what was in the device, but they were bought online. And as you can see from the front, it has a cartoon character on it, and it's quite bright and eye-catching. And the back reads, "Government warning, this package contains cannabis, a Schedule 1 controlled substance. Keep out of reach of children and animals. Cannabis products may only be possessed or consumed by persons 21 years of age or older, unless the person is a qualified patient. Cannabis use whilst pregnant or breastfeeding may be harmful. Consumption of cannabis products impairs your ability to drive and operate machinery. Please use extreme caution. Warning, cancer and reproductive harm." So how do we know what's in a vape? In some areas of the UK, particularly southwest England and Northern Ireland, monitors to test substances in vapes have been deployed. They quickly and accurately test vapes for different substances, and police teams have attended schools, and this is to educate pupils and staff on the risks of using illegal vapes. But they are not available everywhere, so we don't fully know the rate or the types of substances that are being used in the UK due to the fact that we don't have the ability to test them. But if we are working around young people, but we don't have the monitors, what can we do? What can we do if we're in an area that doesn't have a monitor to test vapes? It's essential to recognise the signs of vaping and familiarise ourselves with the types of vapes and packages that might contain illicit substances. In youth organisations and schools, hosting workshops and discussions might be an effective way to facilitate informed conversations about vaping and illicit substances. These sessions could provide a platform for sharing accurate, up-to-date information, addressing misconceptions, and encouraging open dialogue. They might also offer young people the opportunity to engage with each other and get that vital peer support. When we're working around young people, we want to act as positive role models, so we might need to avoid using vapes in front of young people to reinforce positive behaviours. When engaging with young people, it's essential to focus on the benefits of quitting, as research suggests that they're more receptive to the positive messages rather than fear-based, risk-based approaches. Also, being aware of the support services available in your area is essential so that you can signpost young people that want support. Quit Your Way Scotland is a free service run by the NHS that assists young people who wish to quit smoking. Some areas do also provide support to stop vaping. Finally, Talk to Frank is a website that provides information about drugs and finding support in your area.
Hi everyone, and welcome to a presentation about young people and vaping. We at WithYou work with young people in Eastern Bartonshire and are very aware of the dangers involved with vaping, and we are here to offer advice, information and support in order for them to make informed choices. Hello, and thank you for having us here today. My name is Bianca and I'm the CBT therapist within the WithYou in our Eastern Bartonshire branch. Later in the presentation, you'll hear from my colleagues Sylvia and Hannah, who are substance misuse workers. Every year, we work with around 90 young people through our service in Eastern Bartonshire. However, today we are going to share with you what you need to know about vaping drugs. A wee bit about WithYou. First of all, WithYou is a charity that provides free, confidential support to support people facing challenges with drugs, alcohol, or mental health. We have 12 services across Scotland, and we also deliver a web chat service which allows people to have free, confidential conversations with specialist trained recovery workers. Our web chat is available 7 days a week on our website. Our Young Person Service has been established in Eastern Bartonshire since 2018 and has grown steadily to meet the support needs of young people aged 11 to 25 who are struggling with substance misuse and mental health issues. We have 3 substance misuse workers and 1 CBT therapist. Young people can work with a CBT therapist in addition to the support they receive from a substance misuse worker. This dual approach has proven extremely successful in recent times. We receive referrals from social work, addiction teams, justice service, health, education, and the young people themselves. We focus on building positive relationships, and the trauma principles of safety, trust, choice, collaboration, and empowerment are embedded within our service. Recovery plans are developed in partnership with the young people, and they choose their own goals and outcomes. Our aim is to help them to reach their full potential. What are vapes and why do we need to know about them? A vape, also known as an e-cigarette, is a device that heats a liquid to produce an aerosol that is inhaled. Nicotine vapes are considered to be less harmful than tobacco and may help people quit smoking. Some vapes may contain drugs, but you can't always tell by their look, smell, or taste. There are regulatory controls on nicotine e-cigarettes and refill liquids that are purchased from reputable suppliers. However, many brands of e-cigarette and vapes can be purchased on the black market and may not be regulated. This makes vaping even more dangerous and significantly increases the risk of overdose. We have seen an increase in the number of young people being referred to us who are using cannabis vapes as opposed to cannabis joints, and their accessibility and usage in school environment have become a significant concern. I'm now going to pass you over to my colleague Sylvia.
Hi, I'm Sylvia, one of the young people's substance misuse workers in Eastern Bartonshire. What are THC vapes? THC vapes are also known as weed vapes and weed pens. THC is a chemical compound found in cannabis that produces a psychoactive effect. It's the main psychoactive ingredient in cannabis and one of many cannabinoids found in the plant. We've had reports from our young people that some THC vapes can cost between £20 to £50, and one vape pen can last for about a week. The more expensive vape pens branded as Cali pens are sold as having a stronger THC content that can give a much more intense high. Little is known about the actual cannabis content in them, and some tests have shown spice and nicotines to be present. These are much more addictive substances and come with more risks. In some cases, we are finding that our young people are experiencing increased levels of craving for THC vapes. These cravings can lead to disturbed sleeping patterns, lack of routine, irritability, and poor concentration. There has also been a notable rise in the use of cannabis vapes during school hours, which can lead to young people feeling unwell and missing out on class time. How can vapes containing THC make people feel? So they can make you feel nauseous, hungry, giggly, unmotivated, sleepy, or withdrawn. can cause your eyes to become red or irritated and make your mouth go very dry. One of our young people described feeling really ill and passing out after taking more than a couple of draws at one time. THC vapes are often used in a conscious way to make them last longer and are not designed to be smoked in one session like a regular cannabis joint would be. How can you tell the difference between nicotine and THC vapes? You can't tell from the look, smell, or taste. THC vapes are often packaged like nicotine vapes and have a minimal odor, which makes them much more discreet and easy to use. THC can be preloaded into the disposable vapes or mixed with vape liquid and added to refillable vapes or mods. Because THC vapes are sold legally in the UK, ingredients used in them and their sales are not regulated. This means that other substances are mixed in and the person using the vape is unaware. What is spice? Contaminants like synthetic opioids or synthetic cannabinoids, also known as spice, can be mixed into vape and liquid. These are man-made drugs which are designed to act like the main psychoactive chemical in cannabis, but can have more intense effects. Spice can come in a number of forms, including liquids or powder, but can also look like a usual batch of cannabis or THC oil. I'm now going to pass you over to my colleague Hannah to tell you more.
Hello, my name's Hannah and I'm one of the young persons substance misuse workers in Eastern Bartonshire. How can you tell if a vape has been laced with spice? You can't tell by the smell or taste. Spice is much cheaper than THC and has been substituted into vapes which are sold as containing cannabis oil. Young people are unknowingly purchasing vapes with potentially serious side effects. Recent research conducted by the University of Bath has uncovered that 1 in 6 vapes confiscated in schools contained spice. We have seen cases where young people have been using what they thought was THC vapes and have ended up collapsing and being hospitalised. In these instances, it's likely what they were using was in fact spice, but they had no idea. I recently attended a one-to-one session in a school with a young person that I support. He presented as very confused, unable to concentrate, feeling unwell, and actually quite scared. The session ended and he was taken to the medical room. It was later confirmed that he had purchased a THC vape, which likely contained spice. What impact does spice have? As spice is designed to mimic the effects of cannabis, in the immediate term, some users may experience similar effects, such as feeling giggly, sleepy, or dizzy. However, spice can also cause extreme drowsiness, panic attacks, irregular heart rhythm, seizures, and an inability to speak or move normally. Prolonged use of spice can contribute to the development of mental health conditions such as paranoia, dissociation, and psychosis. The risk of harm is also significantly higher with spice than with natural cannabis. Using spice regularly can lead the body to develop a tolerance. This may then lead to needing to take more to get the same effects. People can become dependent on synthetic cannabinoids, and regular use can lead to physical withdrawal symptoms when trying to cut back or stop. How can young people reduce the risk of harm when using a vape? We regularly give out advice to young people that I support about the dangers of THC vapes. This advice includes: don't use vapes alone, or if no one else is around who could help in the event of an overdose. Make sure you're prepared for it if something goes wrong. Could somebody call an ambulance or contact a trusted adult or parent? Never leave someone alone who is showing signs of an overdose. Even if you're scared of getting into trouble, their life is more important. Don't share vapes. It's not hygienic and can spread illnesses like cold, flu, or COVID-19, and you can't be sure what is in them. Start with a small amount and wait to see how it affects you before having more. Everybody reacts differently to substances. Just because your friend is okay with something doesn't mean that you will be. We use the phrase, start low, go slow. You can always smoke more, you can't smoke less once it's already done. Don't use a vape at the same time as other drugs, including alcohol. Whatever is in the vape can interact with other drugs in a harmful way. It could potentially enhance their effects negatively, which can lead to impaired judgment and risk-taking behaviour that may be out of character for the person. How can you help a young person who is dependent on spice? Firstly, visit our website for a range of advice and information, including tips on talking to young people about drugs. Our website includes information on coping with cannabis withdrawals, managing cravings, and how to create smart goals to reduce substance use. Our work with Snapchat. We are proud to have worked with Snapchat to create a new film for its Heads Up area. Heads Up, the in-app portal that distributes expert resources to Snapchatters who are searching for a range of drug-related search terms and slang. Since the launch of Heads Up, over 2.5 million Snapchatters have been proactively served educational content from trusted expert organisations like ours. This new film has been created specifically for an audience of young people by clinical and service delivery colleagues from across our charity.